3. Some important information about tax and the ATO. The Australian Taxation Office, or ATO, is the name of the government department that collects income tax. The Australian government uses tax collected by the ATO to pay for many important services, including education, healthcare, childcare, legal services, roads and public transport, payments from Centrelink, and lots more. Everyone who has an income, including people on Centrelink payments, must have a tax file number, or TFN, which they get from the ATO. They use the tax file number when they complete a tax return at the end of the financial year, which is on the 30th of June. An employee has tax taken from their regular pay, which the employer pays to the ATO for them. A business makes payments to the ATO throughout the financial year. After it receives a tax return for an individual or a business, the ATO decides whether someone has to pay tax and how much they have to pay. It also decides whether too much tax was paid and will then pay a tax refund to the person or business. Many employees and small businesses receive tax refunds. Tax refunds. The ATO makes rules about tax deductions. A deduction shows spending that was necessary for work. At the end of the financial year, all the spending is listed in the tax return. If the ATO agrees the spending was a business expense, the amount of tax you have to pay is reduced. It is important to keep an official record, such as a receipt or credit card record, of anything that you bought for the business, when you bought it, and how much you paid for it. If you do not have the official record, it is very difficult to request a refund. Some examples of business expenses include vehicles, work tools and clothes, accountancy fees, and some kinds of travel. You can even claim a deduction for bad debts in cases when you have not been paid for a job that you have done. Tax rules are complicated, so it's a very good idea to pay a tax agent or an accountant to help you fill your tax return each year. A tax agent can help people to do a proper and legal tax return and can also help them to get a bigger tax return from the ATO. How to get an ABN, Australian Business Number. You can apply for an ABN online at the ATO website, or you can go to an accountant or tax agent and pay them to apply for an ABN for you. You must have a tax file number before you apply for an ABN. When you apply for an ABN, you must show the ATO that you are not an employee who is being paid a wage. You are paid when you get an invoice that shows the agreed price for the amount of work that you have done. 2, you supply your own tools. For example, a courier needs to own his own van, truck or car, a bricklayer or tiler his own tools, and a tailor his or her own sewing machine. 3, you are responsible for fixing your own mistakes at your own cost.